Evening, everyone. Welcome to TMA Sunday Night Live. As always, with the Pidge, I'm joined by Canadian Darren, the Dino, the young man, and also very honoured to be joined by the under-23's head coach and former Arsenal player, Omer Riza. Good evening, sir.
How you all doing?
Brilliant. Yeah, brilliant, mate. Thank you ever so much, mate. Just remember, guys and girls, we are in association with the Former Players Club. Head on over to facebook.com/tailor-made players. That is, like we always say, fronted by Watford's favourite son, Luther Blissett, and also Pricey, Neil Price, 1984 Watford left back. So get over to, like we say, facebook.com/tailor-made players. Show much love for them. Fantastic work they do in the community and beyond. Right, okay, guys and girls, let's get all your opinions about the game this afternoon. Watford going down 3-2 against the Arsenal. I mean, you know, I'll get Omar, go straight in with you, if you may. What did you think of the game, and how do you reckon Watford fared against the Arsenal?
I think we showed good spirit, you know, over the course of the 90 minutes. I think we stayed in the game to a certain extent. I think there was elements in the game where we probably, you know, made a couple of errors which were costly. And I think when you're playing against a team like Arsenal, who are playing really well at the minute, and you know they're so free flowing and they've got some real dangerous attacking players, I think it's inevitable. You know, you could get punished. So I think, looking at the game today, I think, you know, the goal Kook scored was beautiful. But yeah, it was just one of those games, you know, too many little mistakes that were costly at the end, and Arsenal punished.
The sound's gone, Tracy.
Can you hear me?
That was that bloody Darren Cottrell guy.
I can hear you, Omar. Yeah, loud and clear,
sorry.
mate.
Yeah, and it was just down to those little errors which become really costly against a real good side who are real free flowing, and you know, I mean, some of their play today was sublime. You know, one touch finishing, one touch link up, and that's hard to mark. But in general, overall, I think we showed good signs on the counter. I think we looked dangerous when we were attacking. Just need to keep building on that now, really.
True, mate. Darren, you all right, mate? All technical issues sorted, you all right? No, his mic's off. No, not there, mate. Yeah, Dino, mate. Yeah, so go on, mate. I pretty much know your view because you sit with me every single game. But go on, mate. You go ahead.
Yeah. No, well, that's one of the games I've enjoyed at home. Even though we lost, I didn't leave being wound up, you know, because we give it a good go. I was proud of them, but it was just annoying with the little mistakes, you know. They could have been avoided, especially that second goal. I don't know if Cleverly didn't get a shout, but you haven't got time like that with players like Saka on you. You're not going to have 10 seconds to control it and, you know, pass it out. They're going to be on you like a shot. But besides that, no, I was proud of Watford. They give it a go, you know. You forget Arsenal are fourth now. So, you know, they're a Champions League contender. They're a very good team. I thought Saka was probably the best player on the pitch. He was excellent. He really gave us a lot of problems. But no, it was good to see us not give up for a change and lie down and let them batter us. You know, we got back in it at 3-2, and even then we could have nicked it. I thought Dennis had a bit of an off game, even though he scored early, but he was just offside. But besides that, he seemed a bit off. I was very happy with Pedro. I thought he was excellent today. Again, he was superb. It's just little mistakes, you know. Like on the third goal, it was a rush pass that went out for their throw-in, and within 2 seconds, it's in the back of the net. But like we all know, that's the quality of the Premier League. You're going to get punished if you're not concentrating. Even in 1 second, it's in the back of the net against any team at that level. But besides that, I'm quite happy. I was happy-ish coming away from it, and it's a lot more positive than negative. So, you know, on to the next game, and hopefully, well, we need to win, but hopefully we do.
I can't hear you, mate.
No, I can't.
Oh, there you go.
Pidge.
That's me again, mate. Sorry. Right. Halsey, Darren will be back very, very shortly. So don't worry, we will get beer of the week for you. Omar, we usually do a beer that we let Darren get beer of the week over from Canada. So that'll be quite interesting about 25 minutes in. Yeah, look, Dave's got an interesting question as well about loser coming off. But I think, to be honest, and I posted this on the forum, that the individual mistakes cost us. We actually had a decent go, and me and Dino always say this, and Omer will probably say this as well. I mean, looking at from a coach's view as well, but as long as they give you everything and they leave everything out on the pitch and have a good go, then you can't really ask any much more of them. But the individual mistakes really cost us today, and to be honest, in my honest opinion, I really do think we should have got a draw out of that, because, okay, they were the better side for most of that game, but we penalty disallowed was very unfortunate. I mean, the first goal was offside. I've seen that now. It was just offside. We were unlucky, but we can't give those mistakes away. It's stating the obvious a bit, but we can't give mistakes like that away to quality sides. Any side, and like Dino said, if it's Norwich, they're going to put it in the back of the net. It doesn't matter who it is, Norwich or Man City. We're going to get punished. So much better, obviously, than the last few games at home. So I'm really happy about that. But we really need to cut those individual mistakes. 100%, definitely. Darren, mate, you all right now?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, cool, mate. It's just your assessment on the game before we throw straight over to Omer again. But
Yeah.
what do you reckon of it?
The one thing for me, I mean, I agree with Dino, a lot more optimism than pessimism. Some great performances. Didn't agree with Lats coming off. But the one thing that bugged me, I've got Keith Hatchett, a friend on Facebook, by a long, bizarre story. And our third goal shouldn't be good, because Arteta left his technical area, threw the ball to the Arsenal player, and they scored from that throw-in. And by the laws of the game, Arteta should have been booked, and the goal should have been, this is what pisses me off with VAR. They're supposed to review these things. Every goal is supposed to be reviewed. And it's just so inconsistent. So I'm not saying Arsenal weren't the better team, and they've got quality everywhere, and we can accept that. But just a little bit of fairness and some sort of order to that kind of thing. So just me moaning, but it was a good game. It was a very good game, and some cracking goals. So, but we march on. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Yeah, I do apologise if I turn my mic off and I actually forget to not put it back on. It's because I've got a bit of a cold and I keep sniffling every 5 minutes. It picks up on the cam. So just apologies for anyone out there who can't hear me again, but I've turned my mic off, turned my mic on for once. So a few people coming out here. Dave, and evening, lads. What do you make of Roy getting booed big time for making the sub of loser? We'll get to that as well. Halsey, evening, guys. We gave it a go. Cracking goal by Cucho. Justin Beatty says, "Is it me or Roy seems to call out fans a lot?" I don't know. We'll get, like I said, we'll throw this out to Omer again if he sort of saw any press conferences. But we also got, so if there was goal was offside, was the VAR letting us down again? Omer, what's your? I mean, obviously, on 23 level at the moment, they don't use it. But what's your opinion on VAR in general? Is it a good thing at the moment, or is it still work in progress?
I think it's probably a work in progress still. I think sometimes it's been really good. I still think it's taken away an element of the game that sort of, it's taken away that, you score a goal and you can enjoy it. You have to wait a little bit now and things like that. But the game has moved on so much now that it has to be in place. There's so much to lose. So I think it can be good. I think it has been good at certain elements, and there's been certain things that's happened where people are able to complain and say it's not good enough. So I still think it's a work in progress, and the game is evolving. So these things are going to be put in place and they are going to improve over time.
Yeah, definitely, mate. And I think it's a lot of those things like you get in just any workplace where things are meant to make it better and it turns out to be worse a lot of the time. But we've got Barry Johnson. This is my father-in-law, by the way. He's an Evertonian, so he's sort of cacking it, shall we say, at the moment with their form. But he says, I thought you were unlucky today. He's got Facebook user says, how can it work, be a work in progress if we've had VAR for 3 or 4 seasons now? We've got Caroline said Kalu looked good, but why bring him on so late? The loser substitution was totally wrong because he was playing so well. I mean, that was the only thing. That's the only reason I booed the decision, not necessarily Roy in particular. If I'm being honest, I thought that the substitution was wrong. I think Cleverley was walking off at one stage, so I thought bringing Kiembe on for Cleverley would have worked a little bit more. Man of the matches, boys. Just yeah, man of the matches. What do you reckon? Omar, first up. Who do you reckon got
think
that? Watford side or Arsenal?
I think no. I think like obviously I'll talk about our team first, and I think Sissoko was solid for us today. You know, he worked up and down the pitch well. He added to the goals. He looked solid. He led well. I think Kucho had a scored a nice goal, and he worked really hard. But like the boys, they're all doing that now. They're working hard on the training pitch. They're working hard in games, and I think that they'll end up. Hopefully, we'll get more points on the board because of those reasons. From Arsenal's perspective, yeah, I think Saka probably dominated the game today. You know, in possession, he was very dangerous. Caused a lot of problems. He's doing really well. He's such a young lad still as well.
Yeah, definitely. Darren, mate. Yeah. What do you reckon? Man of the match?
I think that's a fair shout. I like Sissoko. He's tremendous. And also, again, I like Latza as well. I think he's been great for us. And I do agree about, the comment about Ali coming on in the last minute. You know my opinion on that. Substitution players need time to get into the game. But I think Sissoko, and his goal was a fine goal, actually. He really took that well. That was a bloody good goal. I mean, the game was full of good goals as much as it was full of mistakes on the Watford side. But yeah, I'd go with Sissoko for sure.
Yeah, Dino, mate. Personally, I'll go Pedro. Pedro's his own goal. I'll probably go Pedro. But who do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, I'm going to go Pedro. He's very good at, he's very good at holding the ball up. Sissoko's just Mr. Consistent, isn't he? He'd probably be one for player of the season with Watford, to be honest with you, because he consistently gives a 7 or 8 out of 10. He just gets better and better. He's very strong, always looking to go forward. He's been a very good captain in our small time with us. But no, I'd give it to Pedro myself.
Yeah. First, we could just shout out Dave Cottrell. He says, I'm a Southampton fan. Should be a good game next Sunday when we play you. I hope so, mate. I hope for a certain win for the team in yellow. And I don't mean you by your away kit, mate. So you pretty much gather who I'm on about. But yeah, Caroline's got a good point. Kalou could have come on a bit earlier. I think substitutions were wrong today in terms of maybe who came on or, when they were coming on. But all in all, yeah, there is progress under Roy. He's papering over cracks that we've had all season, to be fair. So I just wished he came in a bit earlier, to be fair. But right, let's get straight on, guys and girls. If you've got any questions for Omar, please do put them over. I hope he's only happy to answer them anyway. But Omar, mate, obviously we know, your role at the club. But anyone from outside of, the under-23 spectrum that haven't really sort of delved into the under-23s, under-18s and the academy in general, what's your role at the club? And just generally working with players, working with Jono and Jimmy, how do you view that?
My role at the club obviously is lead PDP coach, so the lead coach in the PDP professional development phase. So I look after the 23s and all the players within that range. That could mean 18s that come up to the 23s as well if they're doing well enough. It could be first teamers that come down who are needing minutes, coming back from injury, and now our training and our purpose is to make sure we develop the players best we can to get them ready for first team football, whether that's with us or whether that's away from us. We have to try to help them to become professional players and understand what it is and how difficult it is to get there. So really, that's my role. And working under Jimmy and Jono, obviously, they've been great. They've come in. They know the club really well. They've got great history with the club. They've changed things since they've been in. And we're getting lads coming in now at younger ages, playing up, really challenging them. We've had boys go out on loan this year who are gaining vast experience. Lads have moved on to other clubs as well at younger ages, which you could look at it in two ways. We've lost these players, but we've also worked on these players for bigger clubs, if you like, to come and take them and buy them from us. So that's something that we've been able to achieve. So in all it's been great this season. You know what we've managed to do with the youngsters, and you know we've had a couple of James Morris got his debut this year as well, and we've had lads in around the first team training. So it's been a not a bad season so far.
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant, mate. And I'll get these two boys in very, very shortly. We've got Caroline's question coming up in a minute, Caroline. I do promise we'll get that answered as well. But yeah, next step for the players. I mean, I know Jimmy's come on to WatfordFC.com and explained that obviously, the main focus is, like you said, Morris making his debut against Leicester as well, which was very, very pleasing. And we credit you guys in all your hard work for that, obviously. But what's next? What is really the next step? I know it's probably obvious, and people say, "Well, don't be silly." The next step's obviously getting to the first team with Watford. But Jimmy mentioned this, didn't he? Which there's 2 or 3 different avenues for the players, isn't there? Really, if you're looking at it for the whole picture of the player. But how do you look at it? Because I mean, the gap between we say reserve team football is under 23s now, isn't it? But he's getting very, very big between the under 23 and the first team, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we forgot Camille and Shaq as well. They actually got on for brief part in the game as well against Leicester. So, it's great. It's great that's happening. It's great they've been given the opportunity and they've worked hard and deserved it. And yeah, it is getting tougher. I think the average age now for a youngster to make his debut in the Premier League now is 22, 23. So they do need more time, hence why 23s have been put in place and why, there's been given more time for the players to get there. But we've also got to make sure we create the environment for them that's competitive enough to be able to achieve that. So whether it's our 23s that go out on loan and gain vast experience like we've got with Dan Phillips, Thiago Chukwu went out to Doncaster, Dan Phillips at Gillingham, Joe Hungbo's at Ross County, and we've had other lads dipped in and out of other teams over the course of the season. JJ's in Ireland with Ryan Cassidy, so they've all gone out. So we're trying to help them gain some experiences and deal with senior players in that respect. Younger players that are like 17 are playing up in 18s or playing in 23s. Our younger lads, 15, 16s, are playing up. So if they're good enough and we think we can test them, they've been given the opportunity, definitely to be able to step up and deal with the demands of playing against older players. So I think that's how we are trying to create that or close that gap between 23s and seniors.
Brilliant. Boys, we've got 1 or 2 people messaging in questions. You got any questions for Omar?
I guess
it's just what Caroline's asked, really. What players do you think what players do you reckon are good enough, Omar, to make the first team? Because I'd love to see some, reserve players come in. We all say we want to see some at least on the bench, just to get experience, like 10 minutes, even if we're losing or winning. It'd be great to see some come through because that's what Watford used to do, and I think that's what we need to do, see some of this young talent come through because there's always some good players about.
Yeah, I think everyone wants to see that. Everyone wants to see our young British, English players getting a chance, coming through the academies, breaking into the first teams. But they've got to be ready. That's first and foremost. They have to be ready, and they have to be exposed to dealing with those sorts of things before being given the opportunity to do it. And then you got to look at the environment. You got to look at the situation, and you got to look at all these factors as well. If a team is under pressure like we are currently, it's difficult to bed youngsters in because you're trying to survive, you're trying to stay in the league, and sometimes that's not beneficial to the player because you're playing in an environment as a youngster that's very difficult and it's tough. So you have to sometimes people have to understand that we have to look after the players, the younger players in that respect as well. The manager obviously needs to make sure that he's got consistency with his team and his squad, and he has to make sure that he's keeping his squad happy to a certain extent. And it's not easy just to bring in a youngster and say, right, I'm going to put him in and give him the opportunity, because we all know it's not as easy as that, and doesn't work like that. If the players deserve it, they get the opportunity. They've had opportunities to train up, which I think is really important. We've had a lot of players train up this year with the first team, and that's a good experience for them in itself. and then coming back to the loans again. I think that's really important for us now, and the boys are working hard. You know, you ask, are any good enough, or good enough is not the right term. You know, like I said, players don't break into first teams now until they're 22, 23 years old sometimes. So they need time. They need the right environment to be able to go into, and it needs to be, you know, these are the things that are important, and the lads are working hard, and they'll continue to do that.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Darren?
Yeah, just going to say, Omer, first off, it's, you know, thanks for joining us tonight. It's just great to sort of have this contact with the club, so thank you. I was going to say, it must be pretty, when you see a lad coming through and then they finally get a chance to play in a first team match, that must be pretty satisfying for you and the rest of the guys, just to see that start of development, you know, reaching the top. That's pretty cool, eh?
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's really, we all work so hard in the academy, from Jono to Jimmy all the way down, you know, right to the under 8s, under 7s, whatever we've got, the youngest ages, and everyone works hard to get our players to the level that we're trying to get them to be able to kick on and have careers. So for them to make their debuts is proud moments for the academy, and but the important thing is longevity. You know, that's what's important in football. We can see, you know, over the years, you get people get a debut, but they don't, you know, don't play again. So what's important is longevity, and it's about producing good people as well, not just good players, good people, and that we give them, we help them to have careers, whether that's at Watford or whether it's another club.
Yeah, definitely. And we've got a few people, obviously, questions. Caroline, we've answered your question. Dino done it for you. So, yeah, no, thank you very much for that. Halsey says, does Omer think that the English League should go back to a familiar format years ago with a reserve team like the football combination league? I mean, me personally, I mean, you've been a professional footballer. Shaw, Richard Shaw, Stacky, all those players, John Owen, Jimmy. So you guys got a bit more of a way more of an understanding than obviously us sitting there watching the game as fans do. But looking at after watching podcasts from, you know, all the different podcasts from ex-players saying, oh, you know, when we were there, it was the reserves. You were playing against adults. You had that sort of kick up the backside straight away. You had that playing against full internationals and coming back from injury. Do you think it's beneficial for that? Or like you've just said, you know, you're dealing with when they actually deserve the time. So the under 23s, do you think the under 23s is under 18s, under 23s sort of model now is better upbringing than what you had when, obviously, like yourself was started in Stacky, when you just had the reserve league?
I think we were speaking about this the other day, actually, not long ago, and the combination league was just, for us, it was just brilliant. You know, the players that I remember playing with and against when I was 17, 18 was just, you know, you can't buy that sort of experience. You know, I'd be playing games with Tony Adams, Mark Overmars, Nicola Nelka. I can reel off all the
Wow.
players at Arsenal that I played with, and then I could say, you know, when I played West Ham and John Moncur and Julian Dix and Steve Potts was playing. I was playing against players like this. So, you know, when you're playing against players like that as a youngster, either with or against, without a shadow of a doubt, it's like going on loan and playing in League One or League Two, better even, because you've got a mix of youngsters in there that are still plying their trade and trying to learn, and you've got senior players in there that are helping to facilitate that learning. So I don't think we've quite replaced that. And I think probably that's been the biggest problem in respect of competitiveness within 23s and 18s, and a real challenge is probably not as much as what it used to be. You know, back then I suppose winning was a little bit more important as well, and back then it was. I don't really like talking about the past because it's gone, and we're in the future, and everything's progressing. But it was. You got to 18. If you weren't good enough at 18, you were leaving, you know, and you were having to find a club. It wouldn't be back in academy football. It'd be right. You either find a first team at whatever level and start applying your trade and get learning. So I think we lack that a little bit. But then on the flip side of it, we are giving players more time, more opportunity to develop and get better. So there's pros and cons to the new system. It's just about us trying to get that balance, and we are now getting that balance with all the things I explained previous. So boys going out on loan, playing at certain levels, us exposing them to Cat 1, Cat 2, Cat 3 games, playing them against non-league teams when we can, and all those sort of different variations of learning and development is how we try to get there now. So I just think it's different. And yeah, that's really all I've got to say on that, really.
Yeah, definitely, mate. And like you said, and I'll get these two boys in once again just before we go. But yeah, there is like you said, there is the pros that you hit the ground running straight away. You're playing against, first team regulars coming back from injury, so you get that rude awakening straight away. You're not sort of eased in there. You're hitting it straight away, and it can be beneficial. But like you said, it's either 18, you're either stick or twist. You either got a team or you haven't. So at least, like you said, the pros of the under 23s and the under 18 system is you can keep them for longer and progress them. So players that, necessarily would have gone at 18 in the old system, if you progress them a little bit more and kept them a bit more, and like you said, you're looking after the player as well as, the personality as well as the, the ability of the player, you can progress them a lot more. So yeah, it does make sense, mate, definitely. But
the only thing with that is that at 18, before it was like, right, you're out. You're not out. You've got to go and fend for yourself. We still probably fend for them a little bit too long, whereas you're having to learn and deal with it earlier. But that's the only little thing, I think, and it's something that we're trying to get right. I think we are getting it right in a different way, and it's it just keep developing the players with the situations that we've got in hand.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Boys, anything to add?
Oh, it's just
yeah.
No, it's just really good listening to what Omer has to say, and I guess the only other thing I would say is when it must be for the club, when you've got a young kid who you can see is a real talent, and then somebody like a Man City comes along with a big checkbook and signs them up, that must be tough to take sometimes for you, lad.
I don't know. It depends what model. You've got at your club. At the end of the day, if you're a club that's producing young players and it's being recognised, and clubs are coming in, if you like, bigger clubs, and they're things are on offer and these players are going, then I suppose to a certain extent you could say, right, it's development, it's further development for the player. Yeah. The club's able to sustain and keep working, and then refilter what they've taken from those players leaving back into the system. And yeah, of course, it would be nice if we get like youngsters that are staled away and break into the first team, which will happen. But unfortunately, that's the way football is now. It's just such a big industry that football teams, sometimes those, you've got to look at it this way as well. They might not be producing the players that we are, but they're able to come and take them, and we have to live with that. And obviously, that they've obviously got something missing as well if they want to take a player from another club and start working on them, which is, it's just the way it is, yourselves. Some clubs now, they don't even have an academy; they have the B team, and they just poach or take players from clubs when they've been let go or whatever the reasons are, and they start at an older age. So there's loads of varying models, and I think it's just what works for you and your club.
Yeah, definitely. Dino, anything to add before we go very shortly?
No, he's pretty much answered everything.
that's why we brought him on, because he's nailed it every time. No, Omer, absolutely amazing, mate. Darren, beer of the week, my friend.
Yeah, this one is it's called a Rail Ale Nut Brown from the House Brewery, which is in Squamish, British Columbia, on the west coast from here. So I'll bring it up again. I always struggle with this. There we go.
Rail Ale,
yeah.
Nice.
Smooth, full-bodied nut brown ale with hints of chocolate and licorice.
Lovely.
I'll tell you
Nice. That's why you got to stay tuned to us, Omar. Around 25 past, you get the beer of the week, mate. So Halsey's a big fan of that as well. One of our listeners as well. Going to just big shout out to the women that unfortunately lost 3-0 at home yesterday to Sheffield United. So the fixtures coming up during the week. As indeed, like we say, with the under 23s, the under 18s, we'll post up all the fixtures and ticket details. I believe, is it the under 23s are playing Friday, or is it the under 18s? It's Friday, aren't they?
Cardiff,
this week.
Yeah, Cardiff on Friday, yeah.
Brilliant, mate. So more info on that, we will be posting up during the week. Ticket details as well, we'll be posting that up. So if you can get your tickets for that, that'll be absolutely amazing. Right, okay, so next week's a bit of a mixed up week, so we'll be trying to get a preview through for the game away at Wolves. So we'll stay tuned for that during the week. So we usually will say it'll be Friday, but we'll probably go on Saturday preview for the game away at Southampton as well. So once again, Omar, absolutely amazing. Thank you ever so much. We'll if you don't mind, we'll get you on in a few months time, and we'll talk about your playing career, if that's okay, if you don't mind.
No problem.
The glittering playing career, mate. Definitely.
Really enjoyed it.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
care.
much. Right, guys and girls, we will see you in the week. If we don't see you before Thursday, we'll see you Friday night with myself, Super Danny Iron, and hopefully Chris Hanchett. So stay tuned for that. But as always, you've been beautiful. We've been TMA. It's good night from Darren.
It's good night from Dino. I can't remember it.
It's good night from Omar.
And it's good night for me. See you later, boys.
All right.